Hey guys, and welcome to another edition.
Say hello. Say hello. He doesn't want to say hello. He is currently trying to escape. No, don't leave. Okay. He didn't want to hang out with us.
What?
Is that Loki or Toulouse?
Toulouse.
Hey, Luce. Luce wants to hang out though.
Toulouse always wants to hang out. I can't decide if I'm clipping or not. No, I guess not. Oh, I am a little loud. But you're not, though. I think it's just...
Who told you were loud?
I can hear
it. Well, you ready to get this show on the road?
Yeah, Oh, whoa.
Bring the cat back. Bring the cat.
Pranks in the Hood 48. What it up? Oh, I am clipping, actually.
What's clipping?
I can hear it. It's like hitting that point where it's starting to distort.
Pranks in the Hood is about the kitties. I like it. Pranks in the Hood. Here for it.
Here for it?
Here for it.
The kitty ran away. Raz, welcome back, my dude.
Hello, lady. That's like my favorite part of this whole thing is being able to say hello, lady to you. And I'm looking at my laptop like he can see me there.
Who are we talking about tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to talk about the Barbie and Ken Killers in Canada. But first, we're going to talk about a song that Brandon here picked for this episode. You want to tell the folks what song we're going to talk about?
We're going to be listening to... I am still clipping. I'm going to move this right here.
You're just loud.
I am loud.
Just a loud person.
You need to be a little louder. I need to be less loud, so we're just going to move that right over there.
Okay.
Tonight, we're going to be listening to and discussing Clairvoyant by the Contortionist. Yeah, you knew this day would come. Oh, snap. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to pull up the lyrics on my pewter here so I can really dive into that because I never really have.
I'm gonna do that too.
You know what?
Okay.
Anyway. God, I can hear that thing way too. I got to figure out how I'm going to remedy this. Sorry, guys. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to move all this stuff that we normally put over here up here where I told you not to put it. And we're going to put that over here. That's going to remedy that. I'll put it right. Yeah.
Yeah, what?
I'm checking to see how picks up everything. Jesus. These are things that I should be making a test stream and figuring out before we start.
Yeah.
But I don't. Because I'm a freaking noob at this, apparently. I'm not as good at it as I've led people to believe. Let's see what that sounds like instead. Okay, I can hear myself. Everything is content. Or content.
Shouldn't be.
Oh, see, that's up as well as it was before.
Well, I don't know.
It's not picking me up as well as it was. Jesus Christ. So many things I have to do here. Alright. Maybe that'll be it. Say something, baby.
Something. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Well, anyway. Bring up the lyrics here. Okay. Me playing with the mic is con. Jesus, it's cutting out now. I'm so. I gotta remind me to create a test stream. Next time. I have to go back up here because the fucking thing doesn't work right. Okay. So I got so distracted. I'm sorry. Tell me what we're talking about again.
We're trying to listen to a song.
That's right. Okay. You guys ready for this? Yeah, you are. Okay. here we go.
Are you gonna air drum the whole time?
Nah. This was too good. Said hell yeah we are. Mike did. always go on this long? It does. Alright. So I divert to you, my lady.
Divert to me for what?
Thoughts, opinions, anything you can offer. So what you think, and for what reasons?
Well, you turned me on to the Contortionist. I'd never heard of them before we met, and I really like them now. And we even met them and got a signed poster. What year was it?
18?
Maybe, I don't know.
It was 18.
I like that song. I like the melodies in the song. I really like musically, and I don't know the terms, so probably gonna sound ignorant talking about it, but I really like where it goes into the third verse, and everything about the song kind of slows down and changes, where he says, what's the price of it if we kill ourselves a little bit? That's my favorite part of the song, musically. I don't really know what this song is about. I don't know what he's talking about, but I think the overall theme of it can be related to selling out in any kind of way, whether it be maybe for them like with a record label or something, or maybe it just on a basic human level, it could be being a part of or selling out to something you don't really believe in, being involved in something that's not really aligned with your moral compass, because he's talking about where is it? He's talking about like they'll offer silver and gold, the only colors they know for these things they can't compose. They don't know what I know. And then he says, we'd sell you our souls, but they're golden. And to me, that just kind of means, what I believe in and what I stand for and what I love is more important than stooping down. For me, stooping up in your eyes for something that you think is so great, because this thing that I hold dear is more important than money or fame or riches or recognition. So maybe that's not even what the fuck he's talking about, but that just seems to be like kind of what the overall theme of the song means. And I know that this album was heavily written for or about the friend that he lost to addiction, so it could be talking about people who want
to sell their soul for a fix.
Well, and even people who are selling and distributing drugs to people, and you hear people talk about peer pressure when you're young, and the appeal is like, oh, how good this will make you feel, or how happy it'll make you, or how it'll take your worries away, or whatever. And maybe he's talking about that. Because we see that in media, and also in stories that people tell us about when they first start using drugs. It's fun, and they can be a version of themselves that they normally can't be. Maybe in a social circle, it's seen as just something that everybody does. and that it's glamorized and romanticized. I remember when I was working at um, the substance abuse rehab, there was a rule, and some of those rules I thought were silly, but this one I agreed with, and it was for the clients to not romanticize about using and things that they done when they were using, because that's a common thing that you see in that kind of setting, especially with people who aren't ready for recovery, is they'll romanticize, get nostalgic about times when they used. And so I'm just kind of drawing a parallel with that to, he's talking about they'll offer silver and gold. So who knows? What do you think about it?
I think you hit everything that I was gonna mention lyrically. That's the lyrics on this album I felt were very cryptic until he told us at that show what he wrote the album about.
Mm-hmm.
Once he explained what it was about, I felt like a lot of them made a lot more sense. And I don't feel, it's not that I'm not trying to take anything away from Mike, the singer. His name is Mike Lassard, but I don't feel like he's a very poetic writer in the sense that he, from my viewpoint, it seems like he writes lyrics and melodies to suit a song more than he does writes them to tell a story and then bend the melodies around the song. Does that make sense? I mean, I feel like he has a general idea of what he wants to talk about, but then he writes he comes up with melodies, and then he writes lyrics to go with those melodies instead of it being the other way around. Where someone might have this script they want to talk about and then trying to make it fit into a melody. That makes sense. You know what I mean? So I
know
feel like
what you're saying, but I don't agree. I feel like he's very poetic.
Well, yeah, I feel like his lyrics are very deep, but they're not that's why I feel like they're sometimes a little cryptic, right? Like it's hard to tell what he's talking about because he doesn't really go into a lot of depth about anything. But as a musician,
it's not about him writing a song so that you understand what he's saying. It's him expressing himself.
All right, but what I'm getting at is, as a musician, I can really appreciate the way that he does that, because it's first and foremost about the sonic understanding before it's about the emotional and literary understanding. Does that make sense? To me, anyway. That's it. Since they picked him up as a vocalist, I've always felt that way, and I liked it a lot. That tends to be how I do things, so it's kind of the same there. And then, of course, I could go on and on for days about the musicality. So many times when, I can listen to their albums, any of them, just instrumental, because and still get an emotional feeling out of it, because they do so many intricate things, and sometimes they're doing intricate things that don't sound intricate, and it's kind of, you can find yourself tapping your foot to some of the things they do, and it's not in a time signature that's normal for that. That makes sense. They use a lot of polyrhythms and a lot of odd downbeats to give you the illusion of a different time signature sometimes, and I really appreciate that. Fossil Youth does that, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about them. It's just so, I mean, I don't feel like there's a musician on the planet that couldn't appreciate something that they
So what is it specifically about Clairvoyant that you like me?
I mean, on that album, it's the most reminiscent of the older Contortionist that I'm used to. It's almost like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Like it's reminiscent of their old stuff, but it's also a really good representation of where they've gotten to as well. That makes me appreciate it musically. It's so, that album in general is just, the guitar riffs are really well written. They're not overly complicated when they shouldn't be. They're complicated enough whenever they should be. The mix on that album is really good. I mean, Jamie King mixed and recorded that album. He does a lot of the bands that I love, and he's done stuff with Between the Buried and Me. They call him the sixth member of Between the Buried and Me, or the fifth member. That's the sixth member. But I mean, the guy's got a good ear. There's a lot of musically in the vocals. If you ever get a chance, there's videos on YouTube where you can go and watch where he does a session, where Mike Lassard does a session with Jamie King, and they go over just the vocals. And there's a lot of times when you're tracking vocals, you'll record at least 4 times, a lot of times, to give it this depth and this wide soundstage. There's a lot of times in that album where there may be 12 vocal tracks all going on at one time. And you can't noticeably hear 6 of them. But if you single it out and they're shown to you, then you'll always hear them. I mean, your ear perceives them, but you don't know what it is. And I feel like that approach to complexity in it is a whole different level of musicianship that a lot of people don't even approach. Bass is really, their drummer is such an underrated drummer.
They music good.
It is. Their drummer is far better than I think most people realize. I say most people be in general, but he's the one who's responsible for giving that false sense of like laid back time signature most of the time whenever it's really not. And it's always that drummer who's key in a band, especially metal bands. A drummer can take a song that is absolute dog shit and make it good if they're as good as he is. I mean, that's not to say that the guitar and the bass and they have a keyboard player as well. It's not to say that any of the musicians are lacking in any respect. It's just on top of how good they are, he's also doing his witchcraftery, and it's fantastic. I mean, it would be hard for me in the future whenever it's my turn to pick a song to not choose another Contortionist song, because I mean, you know, I've been stuck on that album and I listened to it regularly ever since it came out. And it came out in 2017. I never said that, and I never will. Fun fact, their drummer and one of their guitar players are cousins or brothers. When they look, I know they're related, but it's hard sometimes if you look at them. They both have their hair down. They look like the same person.
Oh yeah, you said they are brothers.
They're brothers or cousins, one of the two. I think it's cousins.
Yeah, they look like twins.
But I mean, I could go on forever about the Contortionists in general. That song, though, means a lot to me. Not just because it's Contortionist, but because it was really like well, not really. Reimagined was really your like foot into the door with them, wasn't it? ever reimagined one day. I think it was reimagined and then Clairvoyant, but Clairvoyant's the one that really stuck with you hard.
Mm-hmm. Clairvoyant and Return to Earth.
Yeah.
Return to Earth gets me in my feels.
Yeah, I almost chose Return to Earth tonight. The first time I ever showed you Clairvoyant, though, I didn't know if you would like it because I didn't know if you'd be able to get past that part right before your favorite part, where it gets really chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all playing in different time signatures, and but once you know the meaning behind the song and what the album's written about, it makes sense contextually, right? Like he's going through all this build up, and then he shows this chaotic part, and then all of a sudden it's like really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a metaphor into like these are things that are happening, this is the effect, this is the outcome, and it's kind of, I really like that about them. They've always been a concept band, but the concepts that they choose to use they're always changing. And I've always been able to really appreciate every one they chose. So that's my spiel about it. You guys tell us what you think on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, I told Brandon earlier.
Right. There's a Twitter now.
Yeah, Brandon's gonna manage the Twitter account, and I'm gonna manage the Instagram account. And I slacked this week, and I haven't posted a funny picture of our murderers for this episode, but I'll be doing that. I created one, or I fucked it up, I guess. However you want to see that. But it wouldn't fit in the Instagram frame, and that pissed me off, so I put it down. I was frustrated, but I'll try again at a later time.
Hell yeah. So, you want to move on to our story?
Sure.
Excellent. I'm going to grab another soda if you want to tell them what we're talking about, because I think we've had some other people join us since we started.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about the Barbie and Ken Killers in Canada. That's Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. We watched the documentary last night, and now I've forgotten. Homolka. Homolka.
Homolka.
Homolka? Something. I don't know.
Okay. I'll find it. I'll find her real quick.
Well, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not gonna say her full name every time I say her name.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about you guys, but I had never heard of these people. My friend Shalom actually told me about this case because I asked her if there were any true crime cases that she found interesting that she'd give us for suggestions. And Barbie and Ken, wild, y'all. They wild. I'm gonna let Brandon find the proper pronunciation of this bitch's last name. If it's gonna take you a long time, don't worry about it.
I think it is Homolka.
Did you just look up the word?
No, it's the way that guy says it. It's really weird because of his accent. I'm looking for another pronunciation of like a normal person.
You saying Canadians aren't normal people?
Nope, they're not.
Isn't
that right?
Damn.
Hey. They don't be normal. Eh?
That's aggressive.
Is what it is.
Okay, let's move on. I'm over it. I don't care. So, we watched that documentary, and I really didn't like the documentary that much. I didn't like, I guess, the presentation of it very well, but we watched it all the same.
It is Homolka.
Mocha. So, without like giving away things, what did you think? What did you think about that case? And
well, like you just said, the documentary was not very good as far as its presentation. But I thought the case was really interesting, though. I'm going to post a link to a website. We're getting a lot of stuff, guys. There it is.
yeah, there were some interesting things that I found in that article that I wanted to share with you guys that weren't in the documentary. So, I'm going to refer to them probably as Barbie and Ken, because whatever.
First off, I want to address the elephant in the room. They call them the Barbie and Ken Killers because they were supposedly two very attractive people, but these people ain't that cute. I don't know where the fuck they're getting that shit from. They talk about how handsome and charismatic and I don't know. They made Paul out to be some Rique Suave. He ain't even that handsome.
He ain't shit.
No, he ain't shit.
He ain't shit.
I wouldn't look at him twice.
Yeah, so that was something I wanted to hit on. Was it's just funny to me when somebody does something heinous and people dote on, if they're attractive, people just like emphasize and dote on that. Like,
yeah, they kept talking about
they're so pretty. We can't believe that such beautiful people would do this. Like, only ugly people kill people. Like, there can be nothing wrong with attractive people. Like, they couldn't be killers. They couldn't be fucking child molesters. They couldn't be, insert whatever fucked up thing humans are sometimes, because they're just too pretty. I remember, well, I guess some people don't consider this smoking. I guess it kind of still is, but when I smoked cigarettes, people would tell me sometimes, "You're too pretty to smoke," and I'm like,
the cigarette don't care.
The what?
The cigarette don't care what you look like.
Well, it's just that kind of. It just goes back to that is a value in our culture. Is attractiveness, is appearance. There's even a study that we did in one of my bachelor level psych classes that was listing the values of different countries, and appearance and beauty was like number 1 or 2 for Americans.
Wow.
I just think, we're all guilty of it. We're all, shallow. We like people and things that are pretty, but it's just, it's appalling sometimes. So, Paul and Carla, Ken and Barbie. So, these two, when they met, there was like an instant spark between the two of them. It's like a love at first sight, I guess, kind of thing, or lust at first sight.
Yeah, she said that whenever the first time she saw him, she knew she was gonna marry him.
She did say that, yeah. The first time I saw him, I was going to marry him. But don't get the... Also, we watched a documentary, and then we watched a movie called Carla. And
the movie was really close to the story, though, but it told it from a different perspective.
Yeah. And it starred the chick from that 70s show. Do you know her name?
No.
Anyway, she plays Carla, and I couldn't finish it because it just got too much for me. But if you're interested, that's out there. It's on Netflix, and what else was it on?
Prime.
Amazon Prime and Netflix, if you guys are interested in that. And the documentary that we got information from was on YouTube. So these two bitches meet, and they're just both so attractive, and she says that she knew she was going to marry him, you know, the first time that she laid eyes on him. And within a few hours of them meeting, they are in a hotel room bumping ugly. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that...
And she was like 17.
Yes. He was 23, I think, and she was not even graduated from high school when they met. And I mean, I know people have, like, crazy... Laura.
Yep.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
That was her.
People have like flings and one night stands and stuff, but that's just that's kind of extreme in my opinion, and it's just my opinion. You know, people, you know, do you boo boo. For them to have met in a fucking restaurant, and then how did it go from we're like in a diner to we're in the hotel motel Holiday Inn?
Well, they were in a motel restaurant or hotel restaurant. That's where they met.
Oh, well, still, it's just
her and her friend were there for a convention, like a veterinary medicine.
It was something for their work.
Well, they worked at a vet clinic, and they were there for some kind of clinic. What's the word on the conference? And they were in the restaurant, the hotel restaurant, and then Paul and his buddy pull up and go inside, and that was it. Like, they spotted these girls and decided to go and join them, and then a few hours later, they're bumping uglies. And I mean, we were together for what, like a month before we had been talking to each other before we even like kissed.
I was like, where are you going with this?
No, not that far.
So that's where it starts, but Carla is unaware that Paul has a real dark past. There were some rapes that were going on, and I guess the town is called Scarborough.
Scarborough, yeah, they called him the Scarborough Rapist.
Yeah. Paul was responsible for these, and the media and the police dubbed him the Scarborough Rapist. They didn't know that it was him yet, but he had been snatching girls from their homes. He would kind of stalk them from the bus stop to their homes, and then he would sexually assault them. And he's 23, and he's targeting girls between the ages of 15 and 21. And so there's a police sketch that comes out of the Scarborough Rapist, and it looks very similar to Paul. Like, there's a striking resemblance between the sketch and Paul. And so one of his friends actually calls the police, isn't that how it went? And tells them, like, this is my friend, like, that is Paul. And so the police call him in for questioning, and he's very compliant, and he even offers them a DNA sample, and so they don't really think much else of it.
Well, they take the DNA sample, but it got buried under like 100 and some odd other DNA samples.
Well, and what I'm getting at is because he was so compliant, like you said last night, they weren't on his trail.
Exactly.
So a few other things about Paul. They talk about his past a little, which I'm like, compared to some of the other shit that people who evolved to be serial killers endure, like, this is minuscule. That's just my opinion. But apparently Paul found out at 16 that the man he thought was his dad is not actually his dad.
His mom was very verbally abusive, and
yeah, his mom was verbally abusive to him. So, I mean,
she called him a poopy head a few times, and he thought it was all right to rape women. Yeah,
I guess that just sparked a hatred in women for him because his mom was unfaithful and she was mean to him. I'm minimizing, and I shouldn't do that. That's terrible. But
well, he
what
sucks.
The fuck? Like,
he fucking sucks.
He does fucking suck. He's an awful human. Something I read in an article said that he read the book American Psycho like his Bible.
What?
So that just tells you what kind of fucking brain function this person has. It's not normal. So let's talk about Tammy. Who's Tammy? Tell the folks who Tammy is.
Tammy is Carla's younger sister, and she is 15.
So apparently Paul is obsessed with Tammy.
Well, we gotta tell a little backstory here. Paul and Carla start seeing each other. Her parents don't care that he's 23 and that she's only 17. Yep. They love him. They think he's a great match.
Yep.
They think because he's a strikingly handsome fella, he's got a good job, he's an accountant, that he could just do no wrong.
Yep.
Because like you said earlier, pretty people don't do bad things.
Yep.
So, Tammy and Paul start getting really close. Like, he takes her shopping, and she will randomly come in the room and sit in his lap and stuff, and nobody thinks anything about it because she's so young. But really, she's only 2 years younger than his girlfriend. Like,
yeah, it's still fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, if she was like 7, it wouldn't be weird, but she's 15.
Yeah.
So it's fucking weird. And, you know, we'll get more into it later, but Paul likes little girls. And he's got this thing about knowing that
he's 15. It's fucking weird. Yeah, it's weird.
So
what I'm saying is, like, her parents should have thought that was weird, because at the root of it, she's only 2 years younger than their daughter that he's dating. So that should have been like an ultra red flag. But whatever.
Yeah. So
it's a red flag either way, but it should have been really whatever.
You done?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's got this thing about knowing that Tammy's a virgin, and he says these backhanded things to learn how to parent to Carla, because he knows that she has had sex with other people before him, and so as a Christmas gift to Paul, Carla agrees to drug her sister and let Paul have his way with her, pretty much. So they're living with Carla and Tammy's parents.
Yeah, he lives with them. He lives with them at this point.
Mm-hmm. This is Christmas Eve, and the parents are upstairs asleep, and Carla and Paul have Tammy downstairs with them, and they're getting her drunk. And they put some kind of a
put sleeping pills in her drink.
Yeah, some kind of a sedative in her drink, and that just didn't seem to be putting her to sleep. So Carla had gotten, what was it? halothane.
Well, they put her to sleep with the sleeping pills, but she drank quite a bit of them.
She didn't
before
go to
she
sleep
passed
with
out.
the sleeping pills.
The whole thing was to keep her unconscious.
Okay. So they used the sleeping pills to knock her out, and then they also used the halothane, which is a fucking sedative for animals that Carla got from the vet clinic she worked at. And Paul rapes Tammy, and then he demands that Carla molest her.
All while he's filming this.
Yeah.
He's filming the whole thing.
They videotape it. And so Tammy wakes up and she starts vomiting and choking on her vomit.
She doesn't wake up, she just starts vomiting.
She wakes up, babe.
Okay.
She woke up at some point.
Okay.
And so they freak out when she starts choking and she stops breathing. So they call 911 and Tammy dies. So, but they don't suspect Carla and Paul. They don't suspect any foul play. I think it said in the documentary that the coroner determined that she died from natural causes. I don't fucking understand how that happened. Like, if they ran any kind of test, like, how did they not see that she had all this shit in her system? Or, like, I think it was...
They did find trace amounts, but they determined that with the story and them saying that the burn on her face was because it was rug burn from them trying to give her CPR, that it was just natural causes.
Probably because they were so attractive. There was no foul play. Because they were such beautiful people. Physically. Supposedly. So I don't think they talked about this in the documentary. Maybe they did and I don't remember. But they reenacted killing her.
Yeah.
Like, Carla put her clothes on and they had sex in Tammy's bed.
Mm-hmm.
And they reenacted killing her. They said that in the documentary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's just another level of... I don't even know a word to describe like
Fuckery.
How bad that is. I mean, you already killed her. Now you gotta pretend you're doing it again. Like, so they get engaged, and all the while they're like engaged and planning a fucking wedding, and also abducting these girls and fucking raping them. So, and Carla's defense is that she was so in love with Paul that she would do anything to keep him around. Maybe that's true. She was young, but like that doesn't justify being an active party in the things that they done to these girls.
No.
And I just really don't understand how you can love somebody that much that you're willing to do that to another person. So Paul raped and assaulted a lot of girls, but Tammy and there were 2 others that they actually killed. The next was Leslie Mahaffey, and she was 14. And apparently Paul brought her home to Carla after he picked her up outside of her home. Apparently she'd gotten locked out of her house, and
he lured her into his car with cigarettes.
Yeah.
And then took her home and they had another Tammy situation, but this time they just killed her. They kept her around for a while, using her as their sex slave, and then they killed her. And to dispose of the body, they cut her up into 8 pieces, and they put her body parts in cement blocks. He poured concrete into boxes with the body parts in it to make different cement blocks that had the body parts inside of them, and they dumped them in the river.
Yep.
And then they random fishermen found these concrete blocks. What was it? The day of their wedding, or like a few days before their wedding? They had raped and killed her 2 weeks before their wedding, and the fishermen found the blocks. I think it was the day before their wedding or the day of their wedding. But she wasn't the last girl.
Yeah, there was also a girl named Kristen French. I think she was about 15 too.
Yeah.
And they picked her up. They were just driving down the road, and they saw her, and Paul was like, I want her. And so they pull into a church parking lot, and Carla pretends like she needs help with directions and with reading a map. And they take her in the middle of the fucking day where people see them. There are witnesses that see them take Kristen French, but the police have a hard time finding them because of faulty eyewitness
accounts.
Yeah.
They say that it was a
beige Camaro.
A beige Camaro, but Paul drove a Nissan.
Toyota.
That was a Nissan. The Nissan 240SX.
I thought they said it was a Toyota.
It's a Nissan.
Well, that was in the movie.
No, it was a Nissan in the documentary. Look it up. It was. Anyway. So these eyewitnesses said it was a Camaro, and so all the while the police are they're tracking down everybody who has a beige Camaro, and coming up with a bunch of dead ends because it's not a Camaro.
So they do the same thing to Kristen French. They rape her, they beat her, and when they're done with her, they kill her by strangulation, and then they dump her body in a ditch.
Not far from the cemetery where Tammy was buried.
Right. Which is, if you were trying to get away with that, then it seems like you would spread it out. But I think Paul was so full of himself and so brazen about everything that he was like, they're not going to get me. They won't suspect me.
It said they dumped. It said that they kidnapped one in, what town was it? Scarborough. One town was Scarborough, and one town was, what was the other one? Start with a B. I don't remember what it was called.
Well, where they dumped Kristen French was North Burlington, Ontario.
Yeah, Burlington. Yeah, the way, I can't remember which order it went in, but they kidnapped one in Burlington and dumped the body in Scarborough, and then they kidnapped one in Scarborough and dumped the body in Burlington.
Yeah. So, also, I found this online that I wanted to read to you guys because it was kind of crazy. So like I said, Carla knows about Paul raping the girls and this sexual deviant behavior that he's got. And so she sees that she's going to have to participate in these things in order to keep him around. So Carla has a wedding present, according to this, and this is the link that's in the chat. And it's 10 little known facts about the Ken and Barbie Killers, if you guys are interested. So Carla befriends this teenage girl, and they don't give her name. She's a Jane Doe. And Carla invites Jane Doe for a girls' night out and takes her shopping and grooms her, really is what she's doing to this girl. And then she brings her to their home for Paul. And they offer her alcohol laced with sedatives like they did with Tammy. So Paul rapes her while she's unconscious, and she didn't wake up. And so she becomes close with them. I guess she wakes up and she just thinks that she got blackout drunk, and she like goes with them on trips and stuff.
Oh yeah, they mentioned that in the documentary that there were other girls.
So there's another time they invite her back to their home and she's drugged again. And this time she chokes like Tammy was choking. But she doesn't die. They revive her, and for some reason this girl stays friends with them, and it was reported that she was a guest at their wedding.
Ooh.
So that's some fucking fuckery right there. I don't know. So all this stuff is going on, and eventually Paul gets abusive towards Carla, and he beats her so bad one night that both of her eyes are black, and she leaves, and she goes to her parents' house, and she tells them everything that's happened. And so they go to the police, and Carla just kind of sells him out and tells the police what he's been doing and identifies him as the Scarborough rapist. But she only agrees to share all this information with them in exchange for a plea deal, a lesser sentence for herself. And she claims that she just kind of stood by and watched while Paul did all these things. And remember, they videotaped all this shit. So
oh yeah, every girl, not just Tammy, every single one of them.
Yeah, they videotape it. So they agree to give Carla the plea deal that she's going to get a lesser sentence, and they bring Paul in and run his DNA sample, and it matches the samples from the Scarborough cases. And after the police have agreed to make this deal with Carla, they find the tapes, and they see that she was not just a bystander. They see that she was an active participant in raping and beating these girls. And for some reason, they just can't go back on their word of the deal that they made with her, which I don't fucking understand that either. But because to me, she's just as guilty as he is.
Yeah, he gets life in prison.
Yeah.
With no chance of parole. And she gets two 12-year sentences, but she ends up serving them concurrently. She only serves 12 years. And then gets out of prison. She's out now. She's still around.
She was released in 2005, and people were freaking out when she was released from prison, and she went out of the country for a few years and lived, but now I think she's back in Canada, like involved in the community with her children, around other children, and I mean, rightfully so. People aren't happy about it. They're fucking rioting about it.
This crazy, this bitch right here.
Yeah. And so the movie, one of the reasons I did not like the movie, and I don't know why it was depicted this way, but it showed Carla as a victim. It showed her as being really bothered by the things that Paul was doing, and it showed her being nice to the girls and not participating, and like a domestic violence victim. And from the things I've read and watched, that was not what happened. So I don't know why that movie shows it from that perspective, but I think that's fucked up too, even that they made a movie to make her look like a fucking victim.
Yeah, I can't even begin to imagine, like, the families of these little girls that were taken and never returned to their families, seeing that movie was a thing and being okay with it.
Oh my god, no.
There's just absolutely no way. I mean, they're already up in arms about her only serving 12 years for, what was it, 3 murders?
Mm-hmm.
The article, the 10 little known facts, actually talks about the death of Tammy, the sister, may not have even been an accident. That's just what they said. And so, don't know.
And another theory, and something that we even talked about too, was that Carla's participation was out of jealousy because Paul was fucking other women in front of her. They weren't willing, but he wanted it. He was aroused by that, and that's what he wanted sexually. She wasn't enough to fulfill his needs, and so maybe that was her motivation in participating, was her jealousy.
Yeah, like I told you last night, all the crimes that we know of that Paul committed before he met Carla, he was just a rapist. And so I think, it is my theory, I guess we'll never really know, but it is my theory that he was still just trying to rape these girls, but Carla was the one who wanted to kill them because of her jealousy. That may have been the only control that she had over them, because she had to let him have them in order to keep him around. But after that point, they didn't have to live.
Yep.
And that's my theory. That's something that doesn't really, they didn't talk about that in the documentary. There's no articles about that, but I feel like that was what really happened, because every crime he committed before that, nobody died. But then as soon as she got involved, they all died.
It makes sense.
And I'm sure there is some truth to her. She may not have wanted to be doing those things to the girls. I mean, I'm sure in a perfect world, she would have just wanted to have her husband, boyfriend, fiance, whatever point in the life they were at, and him be okay with just her, but he also didn't do anything to stop it or remedy the situation. So either way, she got off way too easy. They talk about how
she did.
It was literally the deal with the devil that she only got 12 years.
Yeah. They're like the modern day Myra Henley and something Brady.
There was two of them, right? There's two guys that she had under her spell.
Who?
Isn't that the evil genius lady? No? I think it's something different.
Yeah. They were in the UK, and she would lure girls in.
Oh, that's the couple that was killing girls.
Yeah. I think it was Ian Brady, Myra Henley and Ian Brady.
Huh.
And that's the case we'll cover too at some point, because
At some point.
it's very fascinating, but it's very similar. That's what they did. They abducted girls and boys and killed them.
So I want to hear from you guys in chat. What do you think? Who do we have? A 10 Cinnamon Wisp. What up, girl? Commander Root, Electric Longboard. You people are always in any stream that I'm in, but I think you're bots. So whatevs. Raz, what do you think? Would think that her dishonesty would undo the plea deal. Crazy. Yeah, right?
Yep.
I don't understand. Plea deal or not, when new evidence is introduced, they're able to go back on anything legally.
They're able to retry whole cases on new evidence. So why the fuck were they not able to go back and say, okay, bitch, deal is off because you lied?
Double jeopardy doesn't cover you under new evidence. New discovery. I guess it wouldn't have been new discovery either, though. She told them about the tape, so they couldn't find them at first.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was what happened, really. They shouldn't have made a deal either, though. After she said there's tapes of it, they should have been like, oh, okay, well, we'll talk about this deal after we find those tapes. But those Canadian Mounties, eh?
Well, it said in the documentary, too, that the police got a lot of flack for mistakes they made.
Was she tried in the United States? Or in Canada?
In Canada. Why would she have been tried in the U.S.?
I don't know. I think for some reason whenever we were watching it, I thought there was something about there was a separation of something, that they tried her somewhere else for some reason. I don't know. Let's look. Was rated on 2 counts of manslaughter. Oh yeah, and she only got she was only charged of manslaughter, not even homicide. Was charged with 2 counts each of kidnapping, unlawful confinement, aggravated sexual assault, and first-degree murder, as well as 1 dismemberment.
The fact that she was willing to participate while someone did that to her sister, fuck her.
What in the world did he just do?
I don't know. Our cat's doing some fuckery now, guys.
He's crazy. He crazy, I'm telling you.
Lucky.
What do you do? He knocked something over. See, the fact that she was willing to participate while someone did that to her sister. Yeah. No, I mean, it's not like she offered her sister up, but she agreed to the act. I think they talk about how he expressed. There was one night where Paul took Tammy shopping or something. This is in the movie, but I believe it's truth too. They didn't talk about it in depth in the documentary. But he had taken her shopping, and they came back late, and Carla got real jealous and pissed. And she asked him straight up, "Do you want her?" And he was like, "Yeah, I do. I love you, but I want her." And so he'd been putting it in her ear for a little while that he wanted her sister, and she, on Christmas, she agreed finally. Now, I don't know what goes through someone's head. I mean, that's just so weird and crazy. Like, we were watching this documentary, guys, and like every time they'd speak about something new, Cassie and I were looking at each other like, Did you hear? Oh my god. It was so freaking ridiculous.
I don't know what he did. Nothing seems to be destroyed, so.
He did something. We'll never know.
8 out of 10 cray cray. I'll never be able to get in the headspace to understand dismembering. For whatever reason, that's the part that freaks me the most. Yeah.
Yeah. He cut up this girl's body into 8 pieces.
With a saw. Just, yeah.
He was nuts. That's for sure. And that's the part that I struggle with when it comes to the murder part. Like, my theory is that she was the one who killed him. All of them were strangulation, except for Tammy. Like, hers was accidental. But, it talks about in the article that we linked in chat how Carla knew that using that particular drug, that it should be administered in a vapor and not smothered on somebody's face. She put the chemical on a rag and just laid it on top of her nose and her mouth. And whereas that's one form of vapor, it's not completely vaporized, like it's coming in contact with skin. And also, she knew that animals, when receiving surgery using that drug, they had to have air tubes, like they couldn't breathe on their own. And so I think that it may not have been an accident, that she did that on purpose. We'll never know.
Loki, come here, bud.
Hey.
Come here. Come here, Loke. Come here.
There he is.
Here's a Loki. You want to talk to him?
A thick boy.
A thick boy, and that boy thick. You gonna say hi to him? No.
You want to talk to me?
Hey, Bobbins.
Anyways. LOL. Hello.
That says Loki.
Oh. I was
He didn't know that said Loki. Him not know your name.
We're dropping frames. What's happening here?
Dropping what?
Is the stream still going on yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine's buffering. I don't know why.
So, hope you guys enjoyed the case. That was a harder one for me. I don't know what it is about, because the Myra Henley and Ian Brady case really bothers me too. I don't.
Kids.
Maybe it's because they're younger. Maybe that's it. But something about.
There's a lot of reasons to be bothered by that case, though. A lot of reasons. I mean, they were beautiful people.
That ain't got shit to do with it.
Oh, man.
Well, we thank you guys for hanging out. Time's valuable, and you choose to spend this time talking with us about fucked up things in the world. We appreciate it. We know it's fucked up, but it's something interesting to kind of share and evaluate. And this cat is biting. Do y'all see this cat biting me right now? If anybody has any insight on why my cat, who I know is obsessed with me, bites me, please let me know. I'd love to know what the fuck that's all about. What is that all about?
He don't bite me.
Yeah, he won't bite Brandon. He's only mean to me. Do you have anything to say in closing? They're love bites.
I mean, I think they really are love bites, but come on, dude. Oh, could be my baby. Yeah. My baby.
I'm not helping
My
you.
baby.
I'm not even gonna help. His eyes are like a different color green right now.
The light.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have anything to say in closing to the folks?
Not really.
Stream?
Thanks for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
What were we watching that was on so much?
The morning show.
The morning show, that's right. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
It was like appreciate. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. So dumb.
Also, if you guys are into the true crime thing and you're looking for a cool show to watch, season 2 is on Netflix.
Oh my god.
And it is fucking awesome.
It's fucking crazy is what it is.
It's crazy! All the crazies. Oh, Angie, you need to go watch that. You would like it. You would like it. So I'm done. I'm gonna leave.
Alright guys, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you again next week.